And what's going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for another live review. Tonight, we are going to review Smackdown Live, the September 19th, 2017 edition that took place from Oakland, California. We have a little bit to talk about, but before we get started, let's start on a positive note. Today is September 19th. You know what happened 1 year ago today? 1 year ago today happened to be the birth of the List of Jericho. Except it didn't look like this. 1 year ago today, Chris Jericho created the list, and it was just for his grievances against Mick Foley. But then he's turned into the list as it has stupid idiots and things he pretty much can't stand on it. And unfortunately, it's not on the show Raw or SmackDown much these days because Chris Jericho is currently on a hiatus with being on tour with Fozzy. But I'm sure we will once again see the list soon. So I first want to start this off on a positive note by saying happy birthday to the List of Jericho. So now to get into that show we just watched called SmackDown Live, tonight's episode. I don't know what to say, guys. Personally, this was a pretty, I wouldn't say it's a completely weak episode, but let me tell you something. Things were either, to me, really lazy, repetitive, or decent. We had some stuff that I did like, don't get me wrong, which that's why I am giving it a little bit of a higher grade than I know most people would probably give for this episode of SmackDown Live. But it was obvious. Road Dogg could not possibly bring the past week to SmackDown Live because those were good episodes. This week's episode just felt like it was just the same thing all over again for the most part. Let's get into it, though, and leave your thoughts in the live chat or in the comment section if you're tuning into this after it was live. We start off with a promo of the returning Shane McMahon. It's the first appearance Shane McMahon has had since he was suspended indefinitely for attacking Kevin Owens. And, he talked about how Kevin Owens attacked his father last week, saying how he was, how, him and his father, they may not get along at times, but he's still his father and he loves him. So you put our hands on any of us McMahons, you light that fire, and we go into the rage, pretty much saying, so at Hell in a Cell, he's going to pretty much whip his Kevin Owens' rear end. Which is, kept it short and sweet, and nothing really too much to say about it. It's just exactly what needed to be said, pretty much. He didn't go on and on about anything, so we would hear from that, and then we would hear from Kevin Owens later in the night, which we'll get to that shortly. And then we had this match. We had Randy Orton taking on Aiden English, and it did bring up that someone over the summer, Randy Orton lost to Aiden English, but it wasn't clean. So it was Orton and English, which, despite I thought it was going to be a squash match, it was an all-right match for the most part between the two of them. Gave English some more time in the ring, but, it was just for him to be fed to Randy Orton. English lost by hitting RKO. What really started to, take a turn for the worse was afterwards, though. Out came Rusev, complaining that he wants to be, a hero for his country as he returned home after, his disappointing loss at SummerSlam in 10 seconds to Randy Orton. So he says he wants to, get back into the ring and pull out the Viper's fangs, whatever the heck he said, and go back to his country a winner. And what did we really get? We got in there, bell rang, Orton got distracted by Aiden English, and then Rusev just super kicked Orton 1, 2, 3. That's it. I thought, all right, he did beat Orton, but then afterwards, this has bothered me. Rusev literally just jumped up in the air and started running around the arena, even backstage, like a little kid, screaming, "Rusev #1! Rusev #1!" How is that match? You won because of your opponent getting distracted, and you beating someone one time out of probably how many times since they've booked you to lose. I'm not blaming Rusev. I'm blaming who's writing for Rusev right now, Road Dogg. Just acting like, oh, I won one match. You can all shut up now. You know what? You're turning him into another cowardly heel. That's all you're doing. And, it's made this look worthless. At least, on the bright side, this hopefully means that their feud will end after Hell in a Cell, even though he's probably going to lose to Randy Orton again at Hell in a Cell. So, again, this was childish. I didn't care for it at all. Rusev's number one. You lost, how many times, and you beat somebody in 10 seconds because of a distraction? Come on now. I can't take you seriously at all. I'm sorry. Yeah, Rusev's a great talent, but they're just not using him properly, and this just didn't make me, care that much anymore. Do I really have to talk about this next segment? Let's just say we got exactly what we got last week on SmackDown Live with Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers coming out again, just trying to poke fun toilet humor at Shinsuke Nakamura with those stupid pictures of Nakamura's face, just making fun of him, and the Singh brothers laughing on the ground like little kids. And, Jinder pretty much said the same exact thing of, you don't want to take this championship about me because these Americans will treat you the same way, blah, blah, blah. I forgot what he even said, but whatever he said, I wasn't barely paying him, but he said something, and the crowd starts chanting, "That's too far, that's too far." Whatever he said, I don't know. I just couldn't pay attention because it's the same exact thing as last week. As I said last week, this is your champion who was a complete jobber. You put him on SmackDown, you give him the title all of a sudden, and he can't win a match by himself, which to me makes sense. He couldn't win a match before. How's he going to win a match by himself? But, this childish toilet humor, is that really going to get me that interested in this feud? Am I really looking forward to Jinder Mahal and Shinsuke Nakamura at Hell in a Cell because of these promos? I don't think so. And I'm glad Shinsuke didn't come out again. It was a backstage interview afterwards, him pretty much just, laughing off again with the whole thing of this as last week of, Jinder just doing childish humor, saying, is that all you got? Is that really the best way you're going to try to push someone's buttons, make them upset, come out there and just beat the crap out of you? I don't think so. Shinsuke didn't say it, but he pretty much implied that he's like, he may be laughing now, but there'll be no laughing whenever I beat him for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell, which I hope he does, but, it wouldn't surprise me if WWE doesn't do it. He keeps that belt on Jinder because they wanted to keep the belt for that big India trip. Whatever. I'm not going to talk about this even more. And then we have the United States Championship Open Challenge, which was supposed to take place between AJ Styles and Baron Corbin. So Styles comes out. He cuts this promo, pretty much, first shooting on Kevin Owens from what he did last week to Mr. McMahon. And then he starts talking about Baron Corbin, though. He starts talking about how, how Baron Corbin does nothing but take shortcuts. And, he took shortcuts to win Money in the Bank. What happened? When he cashed in, he failed. He had an opportunity to get redemption at Cena at SummerSlam. He failed. Now he's about to face me again, and he will fail. Which proves anybody who comes in against me fails, because the wall, you may try to huff and puff, but you will not blow down the house that AJ Styles built. Scripted, really? Now you're referencing the Three Little Pigs. You're giving a guy who was the MVP 2016, emphasizing a Three Little Pigs story. This wasn't funny. That was not funny at all. And of course, it was in the background, because Vince just laughed his head off. No, I don't like that. I didn't like that, really. So then Corbin comes out as they're announcing the title for the match. Not titles, the guys who are in the match, and then so we have right before the match even starts. So Corbin starts attacking Styles. Out came Ty Dillinger to get his revenge on Baron Corbin, and Corbin, got hurt his knee. He was able to get Ty out of the ring. It just looked like I couldn't quite follow along with it, really, in my opinion. I mean, it's it was all right. It wasn't the worst thing tonight. Definitely, the whole thing with gender though was terrible. But so we I'm sorry, I lost my words now. Again, I couldn't really follow along with this episode of SmackDown. But anyways, so the match first got called off. Corbin backstage said he was hurt. He was going to whine, complain. He said, I'm going to give my revenge on both of them. So we maybe set up a triple threat, maybe at Hell in a Cell between Baron Corbin, Ty Dillinger, and AJ Styles for his championship. Cool, whatever. Glad, Dillinger's getting a title shot on a pay-per-view. But we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. Again, this was like, didn't really sit too well for me. We then had this promo, which I thought started off good, and it kind of went downhill. Charlotte Flair returned for the first time in, I believe, 6 weeks since her father, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, went to the hospital and was hospitalized for a while. He's doing better, though, and he's in road recovery. She pretty much came back just to, thank the universe and such. And then Charlotte came out, and she brings out this poster that was covered, and then it just opens it up, and it was a poster of her saying, we're celebrating women. She, endorsed the Mae Young Classic. But then it starts to get weird because Charlotte says she also is out here because she wants to challenge Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Natty, of course, didn't want to do so. But then Becky came out and she said the same thing. She says, I agree with you that Becky, that Charlotte, that Natalya's kind of crazy. But there's one thing that, Becky and I don't disagree on is that I believe I'm the one who deserves a shot at SmackDown Championship. Naomi came out making her case, calling, I can't remember if it was Becky or Naomi, one of the two, called Natalya the craziest there was, the craziest there is, and the craziest there ever will be, referring to her uncle Bret the Hitman Hart parody, except referring to Natalya. And then out came Tamina and Lana, and we all know how I feel about that alliance. Not going to get into that again. But she comes out and pretty much says, how we're building on this whole ravishing revolution, and Tamina's going to be the next SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Blah blah blah, and I still can't take that alliance seriously. And the funny thing was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Tamina's only had one squash match. They're trying to make her ravishing. How did what happened after this, or what happened tonight? All of a sudden she gets this rocket push, just that one squash match victory is going to make her look like a credible championship contender. Because to me it didn't, and it still is not working. But then we got Daniel Bryan coming out, making a fatal 4-way match for the main event, a number 1 contenders match for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And for the 50th time, we got a number 1 contenders match between most of the women on SmackDown Live. They're taking the SmackDown Live Women's Division for granted. Yes, everybody except for Lana and Tamina, to me, are championship contenders, in my opinion. But now they're just doing nothing with that division, but just basing it off the title. As I keep saying, what happened when we had, Nikki Bella versus Natalya, or Nikki and Carmella, or Becky and Mickey for these non-title feuds? And now they're not doing it these anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. Well, again, because who's writing it? Road Dogg. But whatever, for the 50th time, we're getting another multiple-person number 1 contenders match as our main event in this show. Whatever. That happened. We then had the New Day taking on the Hype Brothers, and I thought was, a decent match. There was nothing spectacular, but I thought it was a good tag action between New Day and the Hype Brothers. Usos were on commentary. It is revealed that the Usos did invoke their rematch clause, and they're going to be having that rematch at Hell in a Cell. As now it's just a one-on-one match, so hopefully they will make it a Hell in a Cell match, because I think it's deserving of Hell in a Cell, finish off their feud that they've been having since Money in the Bank over the summer. So, we'll see what happens. But I will I'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they make it Hell in a Cell, not just another singles match between these two. That's the only way to call it the feud, Hell in a Cell match. And of course after the match backstage, we had the Hype Bros, which last week Zack Ryder walked out seeming frustrated about what's been going on with them, and then him and Mojo were like, I can't stand and lose anymore. And if we're gonna do something about it, we have to do something drastic. So either Hype Bros gonna break up or it's gonna be a heel turn. Whatever. We'll see what happens with that. And then live via satellite, we had Kevin Owens just responding to Shane McMahon from what he said earlier and from his actions last week. He apologized to the WWE Universe and he apologized to the McMahon family for what he did, but he's blaming it all on Shane, saying, last week when I asked Vince McMahon, if I have his approval to not get fired, but to beat a McMahon senseless, he said, I just saw Shane and Vince, and I attacked him. Pretty much saying, Shane is your guy who needs to go to hell, and I'm a guy who deserves to go to heaven, pretty much. Whatever. Again, that's the only match I'm excited about for Hell in a Cell is Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. Other than that, I can care less about this pay-per-view. So far, this is just a one pay-per-view show. So we got that, whatnot. And then we had something else that felt repetitive that just did not go nowhere. And Dolph Ziggler again comes out and just starts doing the same thing, saying, I don't care about all you, you guys, like all this little stupid crap. You care more about entrance and what's going on in the ring. So here we go. He imitated Triple H's entrance, Shawn Michaels' entrance, and DX's entrance. The crowd was chanting for CM Punk. And I honestly thought, what if they did pull the trigger into a CM Punk entrance? Have Dolph imitate Punk's entrance. It didn't happen, but Dolph did the same thing. But nothing happened. Nothing happened. For the third week in a row, they do this whole entrance crap. Dolph's talking about the same thing, and nothing has happened. There's been rumors of him and Bobby Roode feuding at Hell in a Cell, but he hasn't come out. We haven't seen Bobby Roode, I don't think, since he defeated Mike Kanellis a couple weeks ago on SmackDown Live. What the heck? That's just filler. No Fashion Files. Second week in a row, we didn't see them. Well, actually, they were on 205 Live last week, but we don't want to talk about 205 Live. So, whatever. Just going to keep repeating this again. Dolph's look like a broken mess, and he's probably going to be out here. Whatever. And we get to our main event, which, again, despite the fact that I've seen this match how many times, it wasn't bad, but I didn't care too much. I just didn't really care too much about this main event. I'm sorry, again, we've seen it too many times. I mean, what we got, though, I thought was good. I mean, at first it was starting off with, everybody pretty much just attacking Tamina. But then, things started, break off a little bit. And, Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky got offense on each other. And as it was pretty obvious, Charlotte got the win. I had no issues with Charlotte being back in the women's title. They kind of eased off on her being in the title picture for a while, which I'm completely cool with. But, we got to get a story with this as well. We don't want Natalya to be just another. We want now to be just another cowardly heel, which I will talk about that in my special video when we do it probably Thursday about why heel champions are so weak these days. But I'll talk about that then. So again, guys, not really too much to say really about this episode of SmackDown Live. It was just one of those episodes that was it wasn't as good as Raw last night. It was kind of flat, kind of there. Let's see if anybody did participate in any of my polls this week, and then I'm going to get out of here because there was not much to talk about. Come on. I got a couple votes. So what grade would you give SmackDown Live tonight? 25% said A or B, 50% said C, no one said D, and one person said F. Which show did you enjoy more this week, Raw or SmackDown Live? 4 votes, 3 of them went to SmackDown Live, probably only 1 went to Raw. Personally, I enjoyed Raw a little bit more this week, despite not being a little bit of a week go-home show. Still wasn't anything spectacular on it at all. It wasn't really a strong go-home show to me, but I gave that a C+. SmackDown Live, again, a lot of meh on this show, a lot of stuff that was just terrible. So I did enjoy some things, so I'll be a little lenient. I'm going to give SmackDown Live a C- tonight. C- for the September 19th edition of SmackDown Live. So hopefully, picks back up, but whatever. As long as Road Dogg's in charge, the show's continue, it's going to go down the pipes. So whatever. So that is it, guys. What are your thoughts on SmackDown? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments section, and please click that like, subscribe for more content on this channel. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. And with that, guys, I will see you all later. Have a great night.